Hey Sizzlers! Today we're making some traditional capirotada, which is usually eaten around the Lent season only. I've tasted lots of different ones. This is the way my mom makes it, so I'm sharing the recipe with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get started. First thing we're doing is preheating our oven at 400 degrees. As you can see, I have some French bread right here, which is this big loaf. I bought it Monday and I left it in my pantry for 4 days. Right now it's Thursday. The reason that I did that is because I want it to be a little bit on the harder side. It makes it easier to cut, and you also need a harder type of bread to make your capirotada. I have a melted stick of butter. I really just put my stick of butter in here and I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and it ended up melting like this. What we're gonna do next is cut our bread into about 1-inch pieces. You could hear the crunch of the bread, and that's perfect because you don't want super soft bread for your capirotada. Since we're gonna put a mixture of brown sugar in there, and it'll absorb it and it'll get kind of soggy. If the bread is already soft, then it'll be really a soggy mess. This is what you want your bread to look like, not too thin, not too thick, about 1 inch I would say. Now that our bread is all cut up, we are going to put some butter in it. You don't have to put a huge amount of butter, just a little bit, so it gets a little butter taste. And we're going to put it here so we can put it in the oven. As you can see, it's not super perfect, and that's fine. I mean, the bread doesn't have to be perfect. It's all kind of gonna mash up together anyway. I like using this bread because it's a lot easier to cut. A lot of people like using the bolillo, which I think it's the same thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if the bolillo and this bread are the same, but either way, you could use this one or the bolillo as long as this is this type of bread. So these breads are already buttered up. As you can see, I'm gonna put them in the oven just for 5 minutes, just so the bread gets a little bit crunchier and the butter kind of seeps in there. After that, I'm gonna take them out and repeat the process with the rest of the bread. If you have a bigger cookie sheet, you could do them all at once. It doesn't matter, but since this is all I have, I'm gonna do them in 2 sections. While our bread is in the oven, I'm gonna get started with our mixture, which is our piloncillo mixture, which is this. Piloncillo is essentially brown sugar, just not processed yet. I'm going to start with 2 cups of water. I'm going to let it boil. The reason that I only start with 2 cups of water, it's because the piloncillo varies. Sometimes the piloncillo is like super thick and sometimes it isn't. It depends on the brand. So I like to start with 2 cups, boiling it, and then put this in there, dissolve it, and then add a little extra if I need to. It's been exactly 5 minutes, and I'm going to turn over my bread because I wanted it to get crunchy from both sides. Then I'm going to add it in there another 5 minutes so it gets that little golden brown color. As you could hear, it's already getting a little bit crunchier, but I want it to evenly be golden brown from all sides. Now that our water is boiling, I cut my piloncillo in half. I'm going to add it in here along with my handy dandy whisk. I'm going to start just stirring it around. If you could cut your piloncillo in more, then cut it in more. It'll be easier to dissolve. But this piloncillo was specifically hard. Some of them are like impossible to break. So it's entirely up to you and how strong you are. You notice that your piloncillo starts to dissolve. Make sure that you do mix it. The piloncillo starts to get softer as the water starts to get hotter. The vanilla is optional. A lot of people don't like to add the vanilla. I just feel like it gives it a good flavor. I don't really measure it. I really just add a splash, which I would say 1 teaspoon, just a tiny bit. Just like that. All along, I've had my mixture on medium heat. I'm going to leave it here for about 5 minutes just so it gets a little bit thicker, and then I'll take it out. Alright guys, so I have a layout of all the things I'll be adding to my capirotada. Our bread is ready, our mixture is ready as well. I will be adding some raisins, peanuts, sprinkles. A lot of people don't like sprinkles, it's fine, you don't have to add them. And of course some cheese. I love the cheese in my capirotada. I used to be so upset because my mom didn't add enough, so now I have a lot of it. If you don't like the cheese, you don't have to add it. It's of course up to you. If you do want to add cheese, make sure that it's the panela grilling cheese because that cheese does not melt like a quesadilla cheese. This one will only get like chewy and kind of hard, which is perfect for this because you don't want a quesadilla type. You want it to be chewy. The best way that I could explain the capirotada is kind of a layer, like a lasagna, like a Mexican lasagna type, because you're gonna add a layer of bread, then a little bit of your mixture so the bread can soak that in, along with however many raisins, peanuts, cheese, and so on. Okay, so let's begin. I'm gonna get some of my bread and kind of just lay it out. I'm so sad that the clear container that I have for you guys to see is not big enough, so unfortunately you guys cannot see what I'm doing here, but I'll try to show y'all as best as I can. here is the bread. Here's the layout of the bread. I just kind of put it there. If I could fit in another piece, I will. It's kind of like playing Tetris with this bread. So another piece did fit, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to be adding some of my mixture. I don't like it too soggy. I like it more on the crunchier side, so I won't be adding too much. If you like it super soggy, then you could add more, and it's totally up to you guys. So like that, and then I'll be adding some raisins. I don't really like the raisins, but it does give it like a good taste, so I'm gonna be adding some raisins, a little bit of peanuts. These peanuts are dry roasted and seasoned. I like the contrast between the sweet and salty, which is why I didn't get the unsalted ones. But if you guys don't want it salty at all, then you could get the unsalted ones, or even the honey ones. Those are really good. Some cheese. And another layer of bread. With the other layer of bread, make sure that you fill in the gaps. So as you saw, there were some gaps here. With this bread, I'm gonna fill in those gaps. So this is what it looks like now. Add more of this mixture. Repeat all the steps. This is what it looks like now. Some people like to add bananas in here. I like to add the bananas till the very end, like when I'm about to eat it, I just add the slices of bananas. If you like the bananas to be nice and warm, then you can always add them in here as part of the process. Like I said, I don't like them like that. I feel like they get too brown and they're just not for me. So it's entirely up to you guys. I'm gonna finish it off with the last of the bread. Add the final of my sauce or my mixture. So in total we did 3 or 4 layers. I want to say 3, I'm not too sure, but this is what it ended up looking like. You could see that it's perfectly layered. You don't want it to be super dry because we're going to stick it back in the oven so it can all kind of mix in together. The cheese can get really chewy, and if it's super dry, then it'll kind of just get hard and nasty. You do want it to get kind of like spongy, and then once you put it in the oven, it'll all mix together. So I did put a lid on this. If you don't have a lid, you can always use foil. I'm gonna stick it in the oven for 15 minutes at 400 degrees, just so it all kind of mixes in together, and then it'll be ready to serve. Took it out of the oven at 15 minutes, and this is what it looks like. Oh my gosh, it is glistening. My mouth is watering. So now that it's ready, I'm going to top it off with some sprinkles. Not a lot of people like the sprinkles, others like it a lot. I don't like to put it in the oven with the sprinkles on because then they melt and they get really nasty. So I'll just top it off with some sprinkles for now. And this is ready. I am so excited about this capirotada. I cannot wait to share it with my family. It's still hot, so this is what it looks like. It's so delicious. Like I said, you can add many other things. I know a lot of people like it with lots of things, with a lot of different nuts, with some coconut flakes. I know the bananas. The possibilities are endless. This is kind of just a template on how to do it. I like mine's very simple, but I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Until next time.